We are back to politics tonight. At the White House, Nikki Haley stuns even top administration officials with her announcement she's resigning her post as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations by the end of the year. Now, Haley says 2 years in that role is enough. But the timing of the announcement under scrutiny, especially so close to the midterm elections. Karen Caifa has the latest for us from Washington.
It has been an honor of a lifetime.
A surprising announcement in the Oval Office. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley resigning.
We're all happy for you in one way, but we hate to lose. Hopefully you'll be coming back at some point.
Haley will leave her post at the end of the year. The president says Haley told him 6 months ago she sought a break. However, a source familiar with the situation told CNN Haley notified Trump about her decision only last week. The announcement caught some top Trump administration officials off guard, some asking why now, 4 weeks before the midterms and the day Brett Kavanaugh took the bench at the Supreme Court after a bitter confirmation battle. The former South Carolina governor well liked at the UN while navigating the Trump shift in U.S. foreign policy.
The Secretary General wishes to express his deep appreciation for the excellent cooperation and support that Ambassador Haley has always demonstrated.
And seen as a moderating voice.
Nikki Haley was generally seen as one of the grown-ups in the Trump administration, somebody who was a very skillful politician, able to get along with President Trump, but also to cultivate a separate identity.
Haley had praise for her boss.
Now the United States is respected. Countries may not like what we do, but they respect what we do. They know that if we say we're going to do something, we follow it through.
And quieted any speculation about a 2020 White House bid.
No, I'm not running for 2020. I can promise you what I'll be doing is campaigning for this one.
President Trump says he'll name a successor within 2 to 3 weeks. In Washington, I'm Karen Caifa.
Thanks, Karen. Bit of a surprise. So joining me tonight on the phone to break all this down, Bill Muck, Associate Professor of Political Science at North Central College out in Naperville. He also chairs the Political Science Department and serves as coordinator for the college's Global Studies and Model UN program. You're a busy man. Bill, welcome to the show.
Good to talk with you.
So let me just start, Professor, with, people surprised. Congressman Mark Sanford of South Carolina saying there's got to be more to this, a shoe to drop. So let me just ask you, not that you have special insight into that, how routine is this for you, an ambassador, to be stepping down at the 2-year or midterm point?
Well, the timing is certainly strange, and it's going to lead to lots of speculation of what was going on behind the scenes, palace intrigue. But the reality is, with the Trump administration, the unusual and the strange is the new normal. They've had more turnover in this administration than any other administration in history. So it makes it difficult to assess how unconventional this is. One thing that did strike me about today was that the administration went out of its way to make this look like everybody was leaving on good terms. They had the meeting at the Oval Office, everyone's smiling and shaking hands. That's not always the case with the Trump administration. If you remember, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster were not so lucky. It's not uncommon to find that you're being fired over Twitter. So I think the Trump administration realized that this was a bit unconventional and that it had to be handled delicately.
So let's take that apart a little bit, because some people theorize, in fact, one of the things the president turned to her and said is maybe we'll welcome you back to the administration in some other capacity. You just tell me what you want and it's yours. So some wonder whether she might be groomed for a possible cabinet position. Do you have, again, any insight, any sense as to whether that is the possibility in his tactics, the president's tactics, because he expects to bring her back in the next session?
It's not surprising that the Trump administration would want to bring her back, because she is so well respected both in the international community, also within the American political system. But if I'm Nikki Haley, I'm looking at this, and I'll be through 2 years, and I'm coming out of here unscathed. A lot of the people that leave the Trump administration, their prospects are worse than when they entered. She is one of the few individuals, maybe Mattis, the Secretary of Defense Mattis, who actually are still well respected. And my guess is that she knows that she got out. She's got some credibility, some experience in the foreign policy world. I would be shocked to see her come back and rejoin the administration.
So I have a potential theory here I want to run by you. I'm wondering if this isn't the impact of John Bolton, who comes in as national security advisor and, again, a real war hawk and the way he sees things. And so Nikki Haley, as you've described her, and she's been described by Karen Caifa, more of a moderate voice. And we're seeing anybody that has a moderate voice, even like former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, those folks go out the door as we bring in the much more conservative, hawkish figures. Might that be what's going on here?
Absolutely. I think that's spot on. This resignation has John Bolton written all over it. His stock is rising with the administration, and he and Ambassador Haley have absolutely different views of diplomacy and foreign policy. As you noted, Haley represents the more conventional Republican foreign policy, a belief in engaging in markets and diplomacy, the idea that global institutions can be helpful in pursuing U.S. strategic interests. John Bolton has the exact opposite view. He wants to pull the United States away from these global institutions. He wants to help dismantle them. So over time, the gap between Haley and John Bolton just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I think John Bolton, at this point in time, has Trump's ear. So I think that speaks to a lot of what is going on here.
Ambassador Haley said today the world respects us. They may not like some of the things we do, but we have major respect. Of course, I went to the UN meeting of a week or so ago when the president spoke and essentially got laughed at. Nikki Haley stood behind him. Oh, no, they were laughing with us and all of that. What is your sense of the view of the world on us, and especially with the departure now of Nikki Haley, what that might suggest in terms of our relations?
I think it's a tough sell to suggest that the world respects us right now. I mean, as you noted, that speech, Trump's speech at the UN, was particularly painful. Seasoned diplomats who are always courteous are laughing at the U.S. president. That doesn't happen. Outside a handful of countries, there's a lot of frustration with the United States right now. The Trump administration is engaging in a broad and systematic pullback from the international system. Our NATO allies are worried about our commitment to that institution. In terms of the economic realm, states around the world are worried about the free market system. Is the United States going to continue to put up walls, or are we going to continue to engage economically? I think, at a deeper level, there's fear of what the world is going to look like without U.S. leadership. So Haley Ambassador Haley can put some good spin on this and say the world respects us, but deep down she knows that's not true, mostly because she's at the UN and she's a good diplomat and she's having conversations with other world leaders where they're making it clear to her that they're not supportive of the endeavors that the United States is engaging in.
So, Professor, less than a minute left. I'm just curious, what is her legacy? As she leaves, what does she leave for us?
I think she'll be remembered as a stabilizing force within the administration. Oftentimes there were competing and conflicting messages coming out of the administration. She calmed the waters. She provided clarity. I think people will remember her for her tough stance she took on Russia. It was not always a popular position with the administration, but she was a forceful critic of Russia. I think you're also going to remember the way in which there was this animosity within the administration.
Yeah.
I think her final situation where she announced sanctions on Russia, and it wasn't long after that the White House announced that they were not going to impose those sanctions. So I think it's a mixed legacy.
Indeed, a mixed legacy. Professor Bill Muck, Associate Professor of Poli-Sci at North Central College in Naperville, and Chair of the Political Science Department, and all those other titles you wear. Thanks for being with me. I appreciate you.
Good to be here.
Coming up next, President Trump again takes aim at Chicago, who he's turning to now to talk about the city's violence. Don't go away.